creating Boz Scaggs' Breakdown Dead Ahead with some of the Toto Boys, most notably Steve Lukather, David Hungate, and a few more. Here's Bill Schnee.
Tell me about working with Boz.
When we started the album, Boz thought it might be a good idea to try a different band than he had been using. Okay. So I got Rick Marotta to play drums. And I honestly cannot remember who the bass player was. And so we started with that song, and that was written by David Foster and Boz. And we cut the track, and it was never nailed. And I kept trying to figure out what it was, what's wrong with it. And we got the best track we were going to get, and everybody left, and I started really analyzing it. And I went, and I called Boz and said, okay, we can fix this track, because he knew it was bugging me. I said, we can fix it. It's the bass part. And so I let the bass player go for the rest of the week. I think there were 3 more days booked. And I'd have to look on the credits. I think it's David Hungate. I don't know if you know. I thought, we went on to the next song. And then I said, we got this track from last night. And if you just put a bass part on it, it'd be great. And he said, sure. And then it occurred to me, wait a minute. And so Rick Marotta was out he was out in the lounge. I went out to him and I said, Rick, rather than overdub the bass, which will probably work, I think the track is pretty darn good the way it is, but it's the same band and whatnot, and it's driven by Lukather on guitar and whatnot. I said, the bass needs to really live with your foot and his guitar. Why don't we just go out? It can't take more than 2 takes. One, I promise, no more than 2. And he's
David Hungate.
And he said, first he was playing with me, and he said, no, just overdub the bass. I said, come on, Rick, please. Okay. So we went out, we did it. We got it in 2 takes. And then he decided, he had an idea. He said, it starts off with this all around drum fill. He said, let me double those every time in the song. And I went, really? He said, yeah, let's see if it works. So we did it, and it sounded great. It really worked great. So he finished that. He came in, I played it back, and he turned to the room, and he turned to me in the room, and he said, that's a hit, and it's because of me. And I said, okay, Rick. And like I've said, I think Lukather's guitar and Boz's vocal and a couple of other items might have had something else to do with it, but it's a great drum track in any event.
Well, there's that thing that let me ask you this. There's this thing that I get when I talk to people, and they're all at least 10 years older than me, as you can imagine, the people of my ilk, of my when I was growing up. And I'll ask them this question. You might find this interesting. It's not a profound thing. I'll say, you're in the doctor's office. There's a guy beside you. He looks over at you. Not that he recognizes you or anything. He just goes, so what do you do? And then he's going to say, well, most people say I'm a musician. Oh yeah, would I know anything you've done? And most of the time, I think 3/4 of them, because they say the energy changes in the room when they say, well, I played on, like Richie Fiore. I know you worked on his first album. I talked to him yesterday. I asked him, he said, you asked me that before. I said, well, I'm asking you again because I still got my notes from the first interview. I said, he says, well, I thought about it after you asked me, because I think the energy does change in a room when you say that. I said, but don't they like, for instance, for you, if I'm sitting beside you, how do you approach when a total stranger says, so what do you do?
I probably would say I produce and engineer records. And leave it at that.
Yeah, but he'd say, have you done anything that I did?
Yeah, and that's when, and you bring up a good point the way you just asked that. Maybe in the future I'll just stop, because first of all, the funniest part is, because the question, like you pointed out, that does happen. Have you done anything I would know? Yeah. And funny enough, most of the time I'm actually a very shy person, and I've gotten a lot better at these things that I'm about to do. But the combination of, I guess, the shyness and memory or something, I would have to struggle to come up with more than 5 people I've done. And I wouldn't want to anyway, because it starts to just be this braggadocious sounding thing, which I wouldn't want to do. So I like your idea. Maybe I'll start answering a different way.
We'll have more from Bill Schnee coming up in 3-4 days. His new book is out, Chairman of the Board, The Soundtrack of a Generation. There'll be links in the description of this video and to his website where you can order the book. Make sure you comment on our video, subscribe to our channel, and share our videos. Also, if you want to make a donation to the site, there's a link at the very top of the description. You can also pick up a t-shirt. I'm John Beaudin. Take care of yourself.